Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Rewind that. It's your girl, Miss K. If this is your first time coming across my channel, welcome. Please be sure to subscribe if you like the vibe and hit that notification bell so you know when I upload more videos like this one. Alright guys, today I'm going to be talking about Godfather of Harlem Season 3, Episode number 3. And that episode is called Mecca. Alright guys, let's get right into this recap, okay? So this recap is not going to go scene by scene. I'm pretty much summing everything up. And here we go. So in this episode, Jose tells Bumpy that he wants him to kill a man named Juan Madero, who Jose says is responsible for killing Jose's sister and her family. He gives Bumpy a picture of Juan, and Bumpy sets Chance and Pettigrew on him. And it doesn't take long for them to find Juan, but unfortunately when Pettigrew walks up to shoot Juan, the gun wasn't loaded. And Juan was able to get away, guys, but not before seeing Pettigrew's face. So the job gets screwed up and Bumpy is livid, okay? He tells Chance and Pettigrew that this is some Hall of Fame type screw up, okay? And I was definitely cracking up when I heard that, okay? So Bumpy tells Chance and Pettigrew to get the heck out of his face, okay? But Chance turns around to respectfully tell Bumpy that he knows they messed up, but something doesn't feel right about this Madeira cat. Chance says that there's nothing about Juan that says military training or combat. So now Bumpy wants to look into just exactly who this Juan Madero dude really is, because right now Jose Battle is looking like a freaking liar, okay? So let's step away from Bumpy for a minute and go on over to Mecca and see what Malcolm is up to. So guys, in this episode, Malcolm gets to Mecca and unfortunately he is detained because the paper he presented is not an official document that proves he's converted to Islam. So this caused Malcolm to be detained in a cell because it's a crime to let non-Muslims into Mecca. But thankfully a man named Dr. Azam offers to let Malcolm stay at his home until his case is heard by the court. So during his stay with Dr. Azam, he and Malcolm get well acquainted, and it doesn't take long for Dr. Azam to see that Malcolm is a racist in his own fashion. Of course, this comment had Malcolm thinking, and the more time he spent with Dr. Azam, the more introspection took place. When Malcolm tells Dr. Azam that he can't pray with him because in America, Black Muslims don't pray with white Muslims, it became even clearer to Dr. Azam that Malcolm didn't recognize his own hypocrisy. It is at this time that he doesn't even respond to Malcolm. Instead, he just walks over to his mat and starts praying. The next day, Malcolm apologizes to Dr. Azam for possibly offending him. He goes on to explain how his father was murdered and how he never knew a kind act from someone of Dr. Azam's skin color. So Dr. Azam lets Malcolm know that here in Mecca, he will be praying with people of many complexions and they will all regard him as brother. So eventually, guys, we see that the court approved Malcolm and he was free to go on his Hajj. So Malcolm was very happy to hear this and he asked Dr. Azam to be his guide on his pilgrimage because there is so much to learn about traditional Islam and he wants Dr. Azam to teach him. Dr. Azam was honored by this request, and by the end of the episode, Malcolm asked Dr. Azam to pray with him, and he let Malcolm know that it would be the honor of his life. And I was just loving these moments because when you see people of different races getting along and being kind to one another, it can be very heartwarming, especially when it's Black and white people, you know. And another thing, guys, seeing that smile on Malcolm's face when him and Dr. Azam were praying together was everything to me, okay? Seeing Malcolm in this episode was just what I needed to help me say, okay, new Malcolm, you have won me over, okay? And just so you guys know, for those that really love and respect Malcolm X, I do as well. So when I say stuff like, you know, he was being called out for his hypocrisy and the racism stuff, I'm not trying to say anything against him. I'm just saying that a lot of the things that Dr. Azam was noticing, it seemed to open Malcolm's own eyes to see, like, you know, I'm kind of operating the same as these white people that I talk about all the time, you know, even though Malcolm had every right to feel the way he was feeling. I thought that this was a very pivotal moment in his life, and it was something that really helped him to see that there was more to it than kind of just reciprocating. It was like, if you want to change something, then you gotta do things a little differently. So I really was appreciative of seeing him with this trip going to Mecca, and seeing that, you know, people of all different colors can come together and they can pray together and all of that. So okay, guys, let's get back to Bumpy, who has called on an old associate to gather some information on Juan Madeira. Okay, so according to this old associate of his, I don't know if he's like a law enforcement dude or something like that, but Juan has no background history, only recent history. So to him, this means that Madeira is with the CIA. The associate also gives Bumpy an address where he can find Juan, and Bumpy goes to that address and he makes his way inside Juan's apartment. And we know that Bumpy had to get this done himself because the job was already freaking screwed up, okay? So Bumpy kidnapped Juan and takes him to Jose alive. But on the way there, guys, Juan tells Bumpy that Jose is the one working for the CIA. So now Bumpy is confused, okay? Especially since he found a bunch of newspaper articles and a typewriter in Juan's apartment, which showed that he was a journalist, okay? So anyway, he brings him to Jose, and Jose wants to know why Bumpy didn't kill him, and Bumpy wants to know why Jose didn't tell him that he was working for the CIA or killing for the CIA. Bumpy tells him, look, I don't kill for the CIA, and I want to know why you do. So Jose says that he didn't want to involve Bumpy in certain aspects of his business. But Bumpy says, I didn't sign up to be a hitman for the government. So Jose takes Bumpy into a back room where he shows him that he has a lot of guns, okay? And they've all been issued by the government. Bumpy understands that Jose wants to fight for his country, but he doesn't trust the CIA. So he leaves the room, and Jose follows Bumpy and says, I asked you for a favor. Now it's time to decide. Are we partners or not? So Bumpy says, I'm a man of my word and I keep my promises. And that's when he shoots Juan Madeira dead. Then Bumpy says to Jose, you better keep yours. Then he leaves, right? So I was definitely glad that Bumpy and Jose seemed to work things out, at least for now, because they were already off to a bumpy start, or a rocky start, no pun intended, right? But another thing is, I don't think it was fair for Jose to ask Bumpy to kill someone so soon, you know, especially for the CIA. I just don't think that was fair. All right. But I will say that I think another reason that Bumpy decided to kill Juan was because of his reaction to the killing of innocent women and children, right? Juan's reaction was just like, oh, well, war is ugly, you know? And I don't think Bumpy liked that response, so off with his head, okay? But anyway, guys, before I end this video, we also see Joe Colombo take Stella out to dinner, and I guess he's trying to get to know her or get her to warm up to him, but I wouldn't be surprised if they turn into a temporary thing, because, you know, Stella, she the Black Widow, so ain't nothing longevity with her, honey, okay? In this episode, we also saw that Mayme received some negative attention in the paper when she is questioned about Bumpy's large charitable donations, right? And she is questioned by the assistant district attorney. So because of all this heat, Mayme feels like for the first time, she resents Bumpy. But this doesn't stop her from giving her letter of resignation to Adam Powell, okay? But Adam was not trying to hear it, guys, and he tells Mayme that she needs to fight this thing. So we shall see if Mayme decides to stay in the fight. But that is it for today's video. Let me know what you guys thought about this episode. Please make sure you like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already, and hit that notification bell so you know when I upload more videos like this one. Until next time, you guys take care and be blessed, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.